Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of The Conversation. And today I got a pretty interesting episode for you guys. It's going to be centered around the playoffs. And the topic really is, can Paul George be a reliable number 2 option for Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers in the playoffs? So that's what I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already. And hit the subscribe button because we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So make sure you guys do that and hit the notification bell to be notified when all of our new content drops so you don't miss it. And you're not commenting on videos late and you're not looking mad late out there. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. With that being said, let's get back into the topic. So all of you guys know we're making this video in June, depending on the time that you guys are going to see this video. And all of you guys are aware that we're going to have an NBA season sometime at the end of July. Now, I don't necessarily know how exactly these playoffs are going to work because I know, that they're going to have 8 games remaining that all of these teams are going to play just to get the final seedings in both conferences. But I don't think the top 4 seeds in either conference is going to change all that much. But they're going to play those 8 games nevertheless to get their feet under them, get these players acclimated to playing at NBA speed. I'm sure some of these guys have been playing some pickup games, probably in their houses or different parks, whatever it is. But all of these players have made it clear in the past that playing practice games or whatever it is and playing at NBA speed is 2 completely different things. So for this season, a lot of these players are going to be those 8 games. That's essentially what it's going to be for. And then we're going to have the playoffs starting off. And we all know that the Clippers are the number 2 seed currently in the Western Conference, and they're going to be playing one of the lower seeds. So they're most likely going to start off in the playoffs playing the number 7 seed, while the Lakers at the number 1 spot are going to end up playing the number 8 seed. Now, let me just say, I don't think that the Clippers are going to catch the Lakers for home court advantage, but to be quite honest, it doesn't really matter because in these playoffs, home court is not going to matter because these guys are going to be playing in Orlando and it's going to be a neutral court, so that's not going to really make a difference. I think the seeding is only important because of maybe strategy, who you want to play in the first round and in the second round, essentially. But if you're a good team and you're trying to get to the finals, you're most likely going to have to play a really good team to get through them to make it to the finals. So if you're the Clippers and you want to make it to the NBA championship round, chances are you're going to have to play against the Lakers at some point to be able to get there, because a lot of people think that the Lakers are the best team in the Western Conference. I happen to think it's the Clippers. So that's how all of that is going to play out. But for the intended purposes of this particular topic, the question is can Paul George be a reliable number 2 option for Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs this upcoming season? Now, some people, like Nick Wright and others, seem to sort of brush off Paul George and say, he only had success. The last time he had any real playoff success was with the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference. And, since he got to the Western Conference and he's been playing with, Russell Westbrook, he hasn't had that much success in the playoffs. Now, let me just quickly say that if you have Russell Westbrook as your primary ball handler, your primary decision maker, I don't think you're going to really have such a great chance at, winning games, because Russell Westbrook at times has made some ill-advised plays and, he doesn't necessarily take the best shots at the right time, especially in waning moments of the game. He's not really a good shooter. He's a very good slasher. He can get to the paint with ease, but he's not a really good decision maker with the ball. And I think that that's one of the reasons why Kevin Durant ultimately decided that he wanted to leave Oklahoma City to go play with the Golden State Warriors. So playing with Russell Westbrook as a primary, decision maker can hurt you at times. And you saw that even, I think, with the last series that they were playing against the Utah Jazz when they were going up against Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Russell Westbrook just came out and decided that he was going to go at Ricky Rubio. And I think he ended up fouling out of that game or getting a technical foul or being thrown out of that game, in the first half or something like that. And it was just like, dude, what are you doing? So that's the type of people that Paul George has been playing with since he got to the Western Conference. Now, the last time we saw Paul George in the playoffs, he was averaging 40 minutes a game. He was playing 40 minutes a game, so he was definitely available. He scored 28.6 points a game. He was shooting 43.6% from the field. He was shooting roughly 32% from the three-point line, 82% from the free throw line, getting you 8.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 1.4 steals. So he wasn't a slouch in the playoffs, but they ended up getting bounced in 5 games because he only played 5 games with the Oklahoma City Thunder that in those playoff rounds. That was the 2018-2019 playoffs. In the 2017-2018 series, it was the same thing. They got bounced out of the playoffs pretty quickly. So, and he averaged 25 points or so. And the other team that bounced him out, I believe, was the Portland Trailblazers. I think Portland knocked them out of the playoffs in 2018, 2019. And 2017 was Utah Jazz. If I'm wrong, you guys can go ahead and correct me in the comment section below and let me know which one it is. Now, looking at Paul George, though, I mean, he is no slouch. He's a 6-time All-Star. He's been on 2 All-First NBA teams when they talk about defense. So he's a really great defensive player. He's been on 2 All-Second defensive teams. So he's been on 4 All-Defensive teams. And he's led the league in steals in 2019. So essentially, Paul George is one of the best two-way players in all of basketball. I mean, he's right up there with the Kawhi Leonards and the Jimmy Butlers of the world. So he's a really great two-way player, and he's accomplished quite a bit in his career, although he's only been playing for 9 years in the NBA. Now, he's 30 years old, so he's a pretty young dude, but he still has a lot of good years ahead of him. The biggest issue with Paul George, at least recently, has been his health. He hasn't been as healthy as would have liked him to be in the past. I mean, he's had some knick-knack injuries. Before going into this season with the Clippers, he actually had shoulder surgery in the offseason, so he missed training camp when they had their training camp in Hawaii, and that contributed to a lot of the issues that they had as a team, early in the season with some continuity issues because he wasn't there for training camp. Then when he ultimately came to play the regular season, he only played 42 games because at a certain point he had some knick-knack injuries, I think like a hamstring pull that he was nursing. And before we had this lockdown due to the global pandemic with this virus that was going around, he was just beginning to round himself back into form, as were the other Clippers that had been in and out of the lineup like Patrick Beverley. So he was beginning to get his legs under him. The team was starting to do well. They had won 7 out of their last 10 games, and they were doing pretty well for themselves. Now, his running mate, on the other hand, Kawhi Leonard, he was putting up some good, some stellar numbers. He was getting you 27 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, and 5 assists a game, and 1.8 steals, shooting 89% from the free throw line, 37% from the three-point line, and 47% from the field, doing all of this in 32 minutes. Now, the question is that we have to ask, can he be a reliable number 2 option? And for me, I think it's undoubtedly yes, he can be a reliable number 2 option for a few reasons. Number one, playing with Kawhi Leonard is not the same thing as playing with Russell Westbrook, okay? First of all, Kawhi Leonard is a champion. He's won multiple championships. He understands what it takes to win a championship. So he has the playoff experience, and he's going to keep his composure when the Clippers get into some pretty difficult times in the playoffs. Unlike Russell Westbrook, who I've seen just come apart in playoff rounds. Either he gets too emotional, or he makes it a one-on-one battle between either him or Damian Lillard or Ricky Rubio, whoever it is, and just really takes himself out of the game mentally. I don't see Kawhi Leonard as being that type of player that's going to get outside of the game plan and start making it a one-on-one game against whoever the Clippers are going against. I think he's somebody that understands the reason he's in the playoffs, the objective of every single game that he's playing, and I think that's going to rub off on Paul George, number one. So he's playing with a good running mate that has already been there before. So I think it's going to allow him to just sort of remain calm and not get too ahead of himself and understand that, hey, listen, as we advance further into these rounds, although I've never been to the NBA Finals, this guy that I'm playing with has been to the NBA Finals. So I can just sort of not relax and just say he's going to take me there, but just all I have to do is just play my game and not get too caught up in, all the other things that are happening around him. The second thing I think is a coaching staff that he's going to have, being coached by Doc Rivers and, the Clippers coaching staff, also being able to talk to Jerry West throughout the playoffs as a mentor, because I'm sure he's going to be traveling with the team or be there at least. I'm sure he's going to be there with the team, in this case in Orlando, where the team may not have to travel at all because you're already there. So he's going to have some experienced shoulders to lean on just to give him some guidance as he's getting through the playoff rounds. And I think all of these things are going to be beneficial for Paul George moving forward. And number 3, the guy is an amazing basketball player. Last season he came in top 3 for MVP voting, and I think top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. So Paul George is on another level, and he can flat out ball. And I think he's going to have some really big moments in these playoffs when they get started, and he's going to surprise a lot of people and shut a lot of people up. So to answer my own question, my answer is yes. I think he will definitely be a reliable number 2 option. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think? Do you think that Paul George is going to be a reliable number 2 option, or do you think he's just going to fizzle out and capitulate when some tough times arise in the playoffs? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.